Hello everyone. Today I am going to do a presentation on accessing DBMS applications and introduction to JDBC. The topics to be covered in this video are accessing databases from applications, choosing the right database for your application, connecting to a database from your application, introduction to JDBC, JDBC architecture, working of JDBC, classes and interfaces of JDBC, purpose and need of JDBC. Introduction to accessing databases from applications. Accessing databases from applications is a fundamental aspect of software development. It involves connecting an application to a database to store, retrieve and manipulate the data. Understanding database management systems. Centralized data storage. Database management systems provide a centralized and structured approach to store and manage data efficiently. Data security and integrity. They ensure the security and integrity of the data by implementing access controls and data validation mechanisms. Data query and optimization. DBMS enables efficient querying of data and optimizing database performance for enhanced application responsiveness. Choosing the right database for your application. Evaluate application requirements. Identify the specific data storage, scalability and performance needs of the application. Consider the data structure. Choose a database that aligns with the nature and complexity of the data to be stored. Scalability and flexibility. Access the ability of the database to scale with the growing demands of the application. Connecting to a database from your application. Data source configuration. Establish the connection string and necessary credentials to access the database. Establishing connection. Initiate a connection using appropriate APIs and framework-specific methods. Error handling. Implement strategies to handle connection failures and database unavailability. Best practices for accessing databases from applications. Input sanitization. Ensure proper validation and sanitization of user input to prevent SQL injection and other security vulnerabilities. Secure connection. Utilize secure protocols such as SSL or TLS for database connections to prevent eavesdropping and unauthorized access. Regular backups. Implement scheduled backups to prevent data loss in the event of system failures or cyber attacks. Now let us see about JDBC. So what is a JDBC? JDBC stands for Java Database Connectivity, which is a standard Java API for database independent connectivity between the Java programming language and a wide range of databases. The JDBC library includes APIs for each of the texts I mentioned below that are commonly associated with the database usage. Making a connection to a database, creating a SQL or MySQL statements, executing SQL or MySQL queries in the database, viewing and modifying the resulting records. Fundamentally, a JDBC is a specification that provides a complete set of interfaces that allows for portable access to an underlying database. Java can be used to write different types of executables such as Java applications, Java applets, Java servlets, Java server pages, enterprise Java beans, etc. All of these different executables are able to use a JDBC driver to access a database and take advantage of the stored data. JDBC provides the same capabilities as ODBC, allowing Java programs to contain database independent code. JDBC architecture. The JDBC API supports both 2-tier and 3-tier processing models for database access, but in general, JDBC architecture consists of 2 layers. JDBC API. This provides the application to JDBC manager connection. JDBC driver API. This supports the JDBC manager to driver connection. The JDBC API uses a driver manager and database-specific drivers to provide transparent connectivity to heterogeneous databases. The JDBC driver manager ensures that the correct driver is used to access each data source. The driver manager is capable of supporting multiple concurrent drivers connected to multiple heterogeneous databases. Following is the architectural diagram which shows the location of the driver manager with respect to the JDBC drivers and the Java application. Common JDBC components. The JDBC API provides the following interfaces and classes. Driver manager. This class manages a list of database drivers, matches connection requests from the Java application with the proper database driver using communication subprotocol. The first driver that recognizes a certain subprotocol under JDBC will be used to establish a database connection. Driver. This interface handles the communications with the database server. You will interact directly with driver objects very rarely. Instead, you use direct manager objects which manages objects of this type. It also abstracts the details associated with working with driver objects. Connection. This interface with all methods for contacting a database. The connection object represents communication context, that is, all communication with database is through connection object only. Statement. You use objects created from this interface to submit the SQL statements to the database. Some derived interfaces accept parameters in addition to executing stored procedures. Result set. These objects hold data retrieved from a database after you execute an SQL query using statement objects. It acts as an iterator to allow you to move through its data. SQL exception. This class handles any errors that occur in a database application. Working of JDBC. The Java database connectivity helps in making the connection between the database and the Java application. After that, we are able to perform SQL related tasks. Loading a driver. A program can load the JDBC drivers at any time explicitly. Whenever the connection is to be made, the driver is loaded. Establishing connection. When get connection is called, the driver manager will attempt to locate a suitable driver from amongst those loaded at initialization and those loaded explicitly. Syntax. Driver manager.getConnection of URL, password or user. The getConnection method of the driver manager class is used to make a connection with the database URL. URL is nothing but unique database URL. User, database username, and the password is the database password. The getConnection method returns connection object if the connection is successful, otherwise null. Creating statement object. Whenever a connection is established, then we can interact with the database. The connection interface defines methods for interfacing with the database. It instantiates a statement by using the create statement method. Executing statements. To execute the statement query, there are three popular methods: execute, execute query, and execute update. Getting results. Result set object can be obtained as a returned object by execute query method of the prepared statement. This object can be used to extract the row's values. Its next method sets the pointer to the first row, and getX methods can be used to get different types of data from the result set. Closing database connection. The connection object has a method called close to close the connection. Interfaces of JDBC are driver interface, connection interface, statement interface, prepared statement interface, callable statement interface, result set interface, result set metadata interface, database metadata interface, and row set interface. And the classes of JDBC are driver manager class, blob class, clob class, types class. The purpose and need of JDBC. Enterprise applications created using the Java EE technology need to interact with databases to store application-specific information. So interacting with a database requires efficient database connectivity, which can be achieved by using the ODBC driver. This driver is used with JDBC to interact or communicate with various kinds of databases such as Oracle, MS Access, MySQL, and SQL Server database. JDBC is a Java database API used for making connection between Java applications with various databases. Basically, JDBC used for establishing stable data connection with the application API. To execute and process relational database queries, multiple applications can connect to different types of databases, which supports both standard and enterprise edition of Java. Thank you.